Unknown Mortal Orchestra are back with their first album since 2015 called Sex and Food. Their last album, Multi-Love, was one of my favorites of the year it came out. It was a really fantastic, well-written, psych pop, psych soul, psych rock record. I never went back to check out their first two projects for whatever reason, but I was very excited to hear this one here. I was hoping it would be a highlight from 2018, and sadly, I do not think that will be the case. This was a pretty underwhelming record. Enjoyable, but there was just not that much exciting about it. It opens with this little 40-second instrumental intro, which I guess does a good job setting the tone for the record, but the first real song is Major League Chemicals, and this is a little more heavy and rugged than their usual sound, and I guess that makes it stick out a little bit, but other than that, this is just a very plain song, and nothing about the actual track itself really pops out at all. I also hate how muffled the vocals sound. You can barely make out a word even when reading along with the lyrics. None of the other songs on here have that problem, so I'm not quite sure why this one does, but I mean, we're not really missing anything because when you do read into the lyrics, they say nothing at all, so I mean, the bad mixing doesn't exactly ruin that for you. There's a handful of other very bland, nondescript songs on the track list, those being The Internet of Love, This Doomsday, and If You're Going to Break Yourself. None of them are bad per se, but they're just kind of there, likable enough while they're playing, but I've listened to this album 5 times and I can only vaguely remember what they sound like, and in 3 days I'll forget they even exist. It's extra disappointing that If You're Going to Break Yourself falls into this category because it makes for a very weak outro. The album just kind of peters out. So not including the intro, that's 4 out of 11 songs that are pretty lackluster, and even the other songs that I do like, none of them are great songs. I wouldn't put any of them on the same level as the material from Multi-Love except for the songs Ministry of Alienation and Honeybee. I love the hallucinatory aura of Ministry of Alienation with the druggy guitars and that whirring synth that can be heard throughout the song but amplifies as the song is closing before a flashy saxophone comes in and ends the song with a screech. Lyrically, this is also one of the more interesting moments on the record where the narrator feels equally fed up and out of touch with modern society, saying he's handing in his resignation at the Ministry of Alienation. I like the sick of fake democracies line because it feels very relevant in a world where 97% of the citizens in a country could agree on something that should be implemented as law, and yet it still doesn't happen. Honeybee is definitely my favorite song on here though. It has this bright neon atmosphere and it is just so undeniably groovy. Whenever I listen to this song, I feel like I'm Oscar Isaac's character from Ex Machina in that one dancing scene. There's also a cool guitar solo near the back end of the song that lends some flair to the track. Kronos Feast on His Children seems like it should be one of the songs that I find to be very dull and unmemorable. Instrumentally, it's solely a tranquil acoustic guitar, and Ruben Nielsen isn't really a captivating vocalist that can single-handedly elevate a song like this, but I actually find this cut to be very lovely and sweet sounding. I've always been a pretty big fan of Greek mythology, so I appreciate the Kronos reference, and the Kronos Feasts on His Children refrain is actually pretty sticky. It is more of an interlude than a song, but it's a nice transition into American Guilt, which has a great jagged guitar lead that makes it the most biting song on the record. Lyrically, it's pretty weak because it seems like it's trying to make some sort of political statement, but with the few lines the song actually has, it doesn't say anything at all substantial, though it still is one of the catchiest songs on the album. Everyone Acts Crazy Nowadays has a really smooth, disco-tinged instrumental with a really funky, jazzy keyboard, some gentle violin, and some lively percussion. How Many Zeros is a song that I honestly just love for the intoxicating chorus. I love the melody Ruben uses here, the la 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 la. I don't know, I just find it super catchy. And the last song on here that I really enjoy is Not in Love, We're Just High. It's led by a looped keyboard passage that gives off a very late night mood, and it's entrancing enough to keep the song alluring until the drums kick in halfway through, and then the song finishes off with a subdued explosion of electric guitars. But sadly, overall, this album is a step down from Multi-Love in pretty much every area. It's weaker lyrically, the songwriting isn't nearly as strong, the songs themselves are just not very memorable on this project, the instrumentals just aren't aren't as lush. I mean, there's just really nothing about this project that even compares to what they did on there. It feels a lot lazier. It feels like it was, I mean, I don't understand how it took them 3 years to put this out, because it does not feel like 3 years worth of effort. I'm also wondering what happened to that song they dropped, First World Problems, because in my opinion, it's way better than most of the material on this thing. And I mean, this is just me comparing it to their last album, because on its own, it's a completely fine body of work. If you have nothing else to listen to, which I don't know how that could happen at a time like this when there was just so much music out there, I can't even keep up with it. But if for whatever reason you just have nothing to listen to, this won't hurt to listen to. I mean, it's enjoyable, it's pleasant, there's really nothing to hate about it, there's just not that much to love either, there's not that much to grab onto. So this gets a 3.25 out of 5 from me. I do like it, it's just not something that I'm ever going to return to. But what did you guys think about this project? Leave your answers down in the comment section below, and thank you guys as always for watching, and I'll see you next time.